me tell you something not everybody knows. The best places on earth are bike parks. Specifically, lift service bike parks. Often, these are ski resorts that, in an effort to generate more summer revenue, they convert their lifts, slopes, and facilities to mountain biking. And to me, there is nothing better in the world than when resorts do this. I wait all year for the chance to visit just a couple of these alpine paradises. Let me repeat that. Only a couple times a year is this even possible. And only after tons of planning, traveling, and money do I finally get to bask in bike park bliss. So, it goes without saying careful consideration is given to every bike park I visit, because nothing is worse than putting in a bunch of work and money only to get to a park with crummy trails and an overall poor experience. Lucky for you, I've made it my mission to help you with your bike park journeys. Now, I'm no expert, so to help me help you, I've come up with a scoring system to tell you exactly how good each bike park is and whether it's worth visiting or not. The system breaks down into 5 categories and has a total of 100 possible points. So, with this system in mind, I recently traveled to Trestle Bike Park in Winter Park, Colorado, and put this resort to the test. First up are the trails, and yes, 60 of the 100 possible points are up for grabs here. This is because trails at a bike park are by far the most important thing. I mean, I can forgive a lot if the trails are great. Bad trails, on the other hand, is like a restaurant having terrible food. You're just not going to make it if that's the case. Devoting 60 points to trails basically makes this category a pass-fail. And I think that's how it should be. Because, much like food at a restaurant, the trails are the main reason why we go to a bike park. I break the 60 points down into 12 subcategories, with a maximum of 5 points for each. And first up are the green trails, of which there are 4 here. Trestle will say they have more, but sorry guys, breaking one trail up into 5 sections is still just one trail to me. Anyways, I wanted to score this subcategory lower since their main green trail is a little too uphilly for a bike park. But I'm sticking with 4 points, because Roly Poly might be the greatest green trail I've ever ridden. I'm not kidding either, it's just my opinion, but that trail is a ton of fun, regardless of what level rider you are. There are a ton of blue trails here that offer a great bridge for riders trying to go from green to blue trails, and for the riders moving from blue to black trails. A special shout out goes to Happier Camper. Easy 5 points for their blue trails. Another 5 points goes to their black trails. They offer a nice balance and range of black tech and flow lines. These trails are also where you'll see some of the most creativity at the bike park, and their signature jump line, Rainmaker. Double black trails is where I feel Trestle really falls short. They offer 5 lines, but most of them are really short, and while it's a park's decision to decide how difficult each graded trail is, I can't help but feel like their double black tech lines are rather tame. Only 2 points for this subcategory. The pro lines don't do any better. Banana Peel is pretty awesome, but that's it. There's no insane tech trail to gawk at or strive to go down one day. Just one crazy jump line, which gets Trestle 2 points.
Holy hell. Yeah.
Flow is the easiest subcategory to score on here. A strong 5 points goes toward their flow lines. They clearly want to be a park that features smooth, machine-built trails with huge sweeping berms, and it definitely shows. I feel like 3 points for tech is very generous. The green and blue tech lines are fine, but as you get into the black and especially the double black tech lines, I start to feel a little underwhelmed. I want my fingers to writhe in pain after going down a double black from squeezing the handlebars so tight that my hands aren't getting enough blood flow. And that just isn't the case here. I don't know why either. Maybe the mountain doesn't have the long, steep slopes needed, or Trestle has just chosen to be more of a flow and jump focused bike park. Which is fine, but I feel they could offer more in this steep and terrifying tech line. Don't let the 4 points I score for jumps confuse you. This park has tons of jumps, and if that's what you wanted out of a bike park, then you would be more than happy at Trestle. I score this subcategory the toughest, and will probably never award 5 points here. Non-jump features include, but are not limited to, skinnies, drops, wall rides, bridges, wooden berms, boner logs, and anything else that isn't a dirt jump or berm. These things go a long way because it shows that extra effort and thought and money were put into their trails. While I think they could add a few more skinnies, drops, and maybe something really creative like a whale tail or a lily pad, Trestle still gets 4 points for the job they have done filling their park with man-made features. For trails, anything over 30 gets you 5 points, and even when you disregard their tactic of breaking up one trail and claiming it to be multiple ones, Trestle still has over 30 downhill trails and another dozen or so XC trails. In other words, this park has more than can be ridden in one day and is among the most trails for one park to offer in North America. I've been here twice. The first time was 2 years ago, and I couldn't believe how smooth and perfect the trails were. The second time was pretty disappointing, as a lot of the trails were really washed out and or full of brake bumps. Now, in fairness, the second visit was during a pandemic, plus trail quality can be pretty random and heavily dependent on just when you're there. Maintaining perfect trails is an impossible task, and I'm a reasonable guy with reasonable expectations, so 3 points goes to maintenance. Oh. When I say elevation, what I really mean is prominence, which is often referred to by bikers as vertical. This is how much elevation there is between the top or peak of the mountain to the base. Basically, how high up does the chairlift take you? It's important because it's how much value you're getting for things like lift ticket costs, standing in the line, and riding the lift. This subcategory is easy for me to score. For every 400 feet, I award 1 point. Trestle has 1,700 feet, and therefore gets 4 points. 1,700 feet means it'll probably take you over 15 minutes to ride down the mountain. Really though, it could take closer to 30 or 40 minutes depending on how you like to ride. Basically, Trestle has tons of vertical. Trails gets a 46 out of 60. Not bad at all. 1 or 2 really challenging double black tech lines would get them a lot more points. So yeah, room to improve, but still a pretty healthy score. The next 4 categories are scored on a 1 to 10 scale, and we'll start with the staff. This category includes anyone and everyone that could be considered a Trestle employee. In both visits, I've been pretty pleased with the staff. There were a couple people that didn't seem like they wanted to be there or were even a little rude, but for the most part, every encounter I had with an employee was a positive one. And a ton of credit goes to the crew working the rentals. They are awesome guys.
Yeah, I don't need to pick anything up. Okay.
Bike rentals are important because not everyone is going to be able to bring a bike. Or they're just like me and want a day or two on a premium dual crown downhill bike. So for these reasons, I think having a solid fleet to rent from is a big deal. And I was a little disappointed with Trestle here. First, they only had one bike to choose from, a Trek Session. Plus, I came up with a group of guys, not all of whom were able to get a rental, albeit they might have waited to the last second to try. I guess I understand them not having enough bikes to rent out on a Saturday or maybe even a Sunday, but we were there on a weekday. I mean, $200 bike rentals have to be a huge moneymaker for them, and not having enough to meet the demand on a weekday seems like a terrible oversight. That said, the bikes did seem to be really well taken care of, and the staff got us super dialed in, so I'll award 5 points here. I love the vibe here. It's definitely a resort town with high-end stores, restaurants, and hotels, but it's also close enough to Denver to where you get plenty of grimy local mountain bikers. Honestly, It's probably the only park I've been to where you can see families on really nice vacations and rowdy mountain bikers crushing beers in the parking lot. 9 points for having the best of both worlds. Random drops and bonus shreds is just a miscellaneous category that is pretty subjective, and really just a chance for me to award 10 more points to anything else I think deserves credit. So I'm giving Trestle 9 points here for their 3 really nice and fast chairlifts, the fact that Winter Park is a cool town to hang out in, and most of all because you're only an hour and a half from the Denver airport, which is about as close as it gets for bike parks and their proximity to a major airport. Oh yeah, also because, well, I just like Trestle Bike Park. So, there you go. Trestle gets a 77. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh man, Trestle only got a C? Well, don't. Because this isn't a math test and a 77 shouldn't discourage you from visiting. Honestly, I wouldn't try to talk anyone out going there. Unless you're just really seeking crazy difficult tech lines. Then this probably isn't the park for you. My friends and I all had a blast here, and I'm betting you would too. So, if you're considering going to Trestle Bike Park, then do it. You'll be glad you did. So, if you made it this far, thank you. And feel free to leave a comment on how you would improve this scoring system, or why you think my score sucks. This channel's about acceptance, and that includes any and all haters. Thank you to my buddy Cobra Kyle for loaning me some much needed footage on this video. Not that he needs help getting any views, but feel free to check his channel and see why he hates Trestle Bike Park. And lastly, I'll be scoring Deer Valley Bike Park next, so feel free to subscribe for more content like this. Thanks y'all.